Hi, good evening, Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Marlon David, and welcome to this week's edition of the Minority Report. I'm your host in studio, and as per usual, we always have a packed program lined up, and we always have interesting discussions and interesting guests and everything. And tonight will be no different. We're going to have some conversations early on, and then we're going to shift gears this evening into some really deep conversation, and as we always try to promote education beyond just dealing with the politics. And so we're going to have a very educational segment later on in the program this evening as we shift into creating some general public awareness and so forth on different issues and matters that do in fact impact Tobago and the general population. Before we get into our program this evening, I want to do the usual, what we call the administrative stuff. If you're viewing us, you can look at the program on the Tobago Updates website. You can tune in to the Tobago Updates YouTube page or YouTube channel, or you can view us on the Tobago Updates Facebook page. It's a platform most persons tend to utilize simply because you can join us on the live and have some comments and so on and create a bit of interaction. We do in fact welcome the interaction at every turn, and as per usual, I normally encourage persons to be respectful with your comments, be intelligent with your comments. Remember that this is in fact a family show. Many persons allow their children to watch the show because there's an element of public education as well that we tend to zero in on a lot. And this evening, definitely we're going to be having some discussions that I'm certain the children, the kids, will definitely want to be a part of. And you as a parent would want to also have them to sit in. And so I would encourage those of you who are on the live to let's be respectful. Let's all come together to make conscientious suggestions and constructive suggestions as well on the platform. So this evening we intend to really have a sort of rounded show. We're going to be expanding our conversation a bit outside of the politics, and it's something that we always say here. This program is not just about treating with the administration or treating with flaws or treating with hiccups, but in a great sense, what we also endeavor to do is to create that forum for education for the public. And so as you listen to the program, as you listen to the facts, as you listen to some of the discussions and the industry professionals that we bring in, it is going to put you in a better position to make more informed choices and informed decisions. Joining me this evening as we enter the conversation, I have with me, and we're going to be doing some administrative work, some homework, some party work, as the case may be. I have with me the General Secretary of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, Miss Akisi London. Welcome to the show. No stranger, but I'm glad you're back.
Good evening, Marilyn, and it's always a pleasure to be here on the program. Good evening to all watching.
Yes, a pleasure to have you back with us. We're going to go right into it. We have some discussions that we want to really kick it off with. We just came out of a weekend where we saw the election process, the internal elections of the Tobago Council, and then it culminated with the convention that was held on Sunday at Caroline Building. We have a new executive installed and constituted now for the Tobago Council. I want us to start off first of all with a bit of discussion in terms of how the process went, how you felt about it, what was the general sentiments and so on. And as we come out of that, I'll ask the director to pull up so that we can introduce the new members of the executive, and then we're going to go a bit into understanding the roles and the function in terms of the executive as it relates to the council. So tell us a bit of your experience, the process and so on. How did things go?
Well, Marilyn, this weekend, the 26th and 27th, we held our, some would say midterm elections, internal elections for the 2-year positions. That's excluding the political leader, chairman, vice chairman, and lady vice chairman, and general secretary, sorry. the elections were very smooth. We had a election supervisory committee in place who ensured that everything was put in place in regards to the polling stations, in regards to the smooth process of voting for members. I would say it was incident-free, and from all reports, there was an increase in voter turnout this rounds. I felt as General Secretary and being involved, I felt that the process was very encouraging to see the enthusiasm of persons raising a bit with the campaigning, with having persons come out to vote, etc. And it gave me a bit of a boost, one could say, going forward. The 13 positions, the 13 persons now make up, along with the 4, now make up the entire executive of the Tobago Council that will be serving for the period 2024 to 2026.
Okay, so one of the things that I mean, all persons would have been observing and would have seen stand out a lot is that the composition of the new executive, a lot of young persons.
Yes.
We see some more women
yes.
actually presenting themselves to serve. What does this say about the Tobago Council? And we see the list for those of you who are looking on. This is the list of the 13 individuals who now constitute or have been added to the 4 to constitute the executive of the Tobago Council.
I think it sends a great message to young people looking on, young people wanting to be involved in politics, that in order to make a meaningful contribution, you have to be involved. I think at least 75%, 70% of the executive are persons under 40. And I think this, I stand corrected, but I think this is by far the youngest executive that has been installed with the Tobago Council. I mean, Mr. Paul is young at heart. So we're counting him in. But I think it sends a message to persons, to young persons, at least to those who I interact with, to get involved. If you can contribute in some way, get involved. Politics is not about just Mr. Dennis or Mr. Morris or whoever. It's about all of us, because whatever happens on the island impacts all of us in some way, shape, or form. So I was very heartened to see the composition of the executive, and I was more pleased to see more women coming in. So we're not overbalanced. So we're good. We're good.
But I think one thing that can be said about the People's National Movement as an entity is that there has been a very balanced cross-section in terms of, even from way back in the day, women being introduced in the politics. Even right here in Tobago, the Cynthia Alfreds, the Claudia Groom Dukes, and so on. We even Tracy Davidson Celestine, who would have come in at a very, very young age and would have worked their way through the political climate, the storms and so on, and stood out. We even had senators, who represented well as women, representing. So I think in terms of the gender balance, the PNM has always done a remarkable job. And one of the things that I admire, even with the gender balance, is that the capacity that comes with the woman. So it's always a case of when a female steps into the fray, there's so much that she brings to the table. A multiplicity of talents and giftings and capabilities, competencies.
And that comes with being involved in the party from youth league days. You come through the party and you learn, and majority, and if not all of the women who have emerged as leaders are strong, formidable forces because they have gone through the party and have learned the party's constitution, what we stand for, and are able to present themselves to the public with such grace, but yet forceful. I laugh because during the results, of the executive, we have the newly elected education officer, who came in with this vigor, this vibrance, Mission Maker Topping. And I think that most persons were so welcoming of that breath of fresh air, that energy that we looking for on the executive to ensure that we do the work that needs to be done to get the result that we want.
And I mean, just to kind of piggyback on that a bit, we are talking about not just gender balance, but we're also talking about an adequate distribution in terms of experience.
Yes.
Along with youthful exuberance, we see experience not just with respect to age, because we have Mr. Dennis, the now political leader, who, though he may be young in age, but he's considered to be someone senior in terms of legislatively.
That's right.
Because he would have served a couple terms as well as an assemblyman and so on, so would have garnered a certain level of experience. We have Mr. Paul as chairman as well.
That's right.
A real pioneer. And so there's an effective balance
That's right.
that we have, and I think it augurs well for development. It augurs well for building policy development and so on, because as you indicated, we have the energy of the younger minds and so on,
yes,
but we also have the balance and the stability of the experience.
That's right.
And I want to plug in here, even in the side of the minority.
Correct.
The minority leader is in fact a product of the PNM Youth League,
Correct.
the PNM's system of succession planning, of mentoring. I want to say good night to him. He is also at another location right now doing his electoral district business. So I want to say good night to the minority leader, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris. Always hard at work, and I guess that comes with the youthfulness. You have to have the energy to get it done and be in different places.
The energy, the vigor, the will, the passion for it.
Also, minority councillor, Mrs. Petal Daniel Benoit. Again, good evening. Good evening. She's a very calming
force. And I remember saying to someone that at the convention on Sunday, taking in her speech, she speaks with such calm. But she draws you in. You can't help but listen to her words. And it's something that I admire of her. Everybody has their different styles.
Yeah.
And that's hers, and captivating.
I think even when you listen to the debates in the House, every time the minority councillor gets up to speak, and there's always tension in the House. Sometimes when you're growing up you go out in primary school and you're in the schoolyard, and you have the school bullies. They always feel that they surround you, and if they outnumber you, that you must remain quiet.
Yeah, and retreat.
And you should retreat and be fearful. But one thing we've seen consistently is that when this minority goes to the House, then is always no retreat, no surrender.
That's right.
And they have definitely been a formidable force, or a more than formidable force, in terms of representing on issues. When you hear the minority councillor speak in the House, it's as if with all the jeering and the taunting, everybody just kind of
and you have to listen.
Calms down, and you have to listen.
She commands your attention. And as somebody mentioned just on the live, she came through the Youth League, so she has She has that experience. She has that training from the PNM.
One of the things we keep hearing coming out, I mean very strongly, and I like the discussion, the direction that it's going in, is the fact that the PNM can boast of a structure that is second to none. We continue to see young persons being turned out and groomed and so on, and coming through the ranks of the party, and all settling themselves in places of prominence, places where their voices are definitely able to be heard.
Correct.
How have you of yourself been affected by that as a young person? Young, bordering on...
I'm young. I am young.
But what was the experience for you? Because here are you today as the General Secretary. A very, very a heavy role with a lot of responsibility, not just for the sake of decision making, but in terms of being able to balance the the management of the party, assist the chairman and so on.
Yeah.
How has that journey been for you? And here you are now in this process.
For me, let me start by this. The PNM has proven time and time again that we are not afraid of elections. We will hold our internal elections as they are constitutionally due, and we will have the people vote for who they want to lead them. And that has happened over numerous times, over and over again. I'm yet to hear any other internal elections anywhere in other groups, but I digress. But for me...
Well, we touch on that a bit just now.
For me, as a young person, growing up around the party thing and wanting to get involved, because I'm saying I see it as a way to have my voice heard, a way to get knowledge, and a way to contribute to my party, my development, my island, my country. The experience as General Secretary has been a learning one for me. I think coming into any role, you have expectation of what the role entails, and sometimes when you get there is something different. But so far, I must say that the role of General Secretary so far has been a very interesting one, a learning one, and a rewarding one for me. I always said I'm never too knowledgeable to learn. So I'm always open, willing to learn, always willing to listen, to advice, but I'm always there to help, to assist. The chairman and I work hand in hand. And I think me as a young person, a lot of young persons ask me, oh, how are you getting involved in this thing? And I think for me is the love, the dedication, the passion for wanting to get involved, to have my voice heard, wanting to make my contribution in any way that I can, in a positive way, with my beliefs, and my beliefs are aligned with that of the People's National Movement. I think that is the best party that gives us the best chance as an island, as a country, to go forward. You rightfully said the General Secretary post is one that is a heavy one, but I also lean on, help and advice from persons who have served before, past chairmen, past secretaries, even past, secretaries in the THA.
Yeah.
I always lean on for the advice, the help, the guidance. And I think that as a leader, once you're open to getting advice and help and asking for help, because we don't know everything. I don't know. I cannot say I know everything. I'm young in this thing. As much as I have my years in, I'm always open to learning, to ask for help, but I'm always there to do the work of the People's National Movement.
So now we have a more or less new executive. We have some persons returning to the executive, and there's a fresh mandate given. What is the role of the executive now going forward? How does this work? So, because we know there's an executive, we know there's the Tobago Council, we know the party has a unique structure that has stood the test of time. You mentioned something earlier that is in fact so. The PNM is never afraid of elections.
Correct.
We continue to hear the Honorable Shamfa Kojo as well always say that the PNM is not afraid of being in opposition either, because we've been there and we've returned stronger than ever. Even the Honorable Member of Parliament for Tobago East in her presentation on Sunday, brilliant presentation, really touched a lot of people. Persons have been talking about it, and you would hear her even echo from time to time sentiments that indicate that, listen, we are not afraid of being here. No. Because this is not our destination.
Correct.
It's not that.
I think that the PNM is not afraid of, as you rightfully said, opposition, because we understand that sometimes it's always good to go back to the drawing board and redo your plan and come again. And in December 6, 2021, the population of Tobago told us, go back to the drawing board. do your homework and do it and come back again. And we have been doing our homework since December 7th.
Wow.
Since December 7th.
Right out of the blocks.
Straight out of the blocks. We have not rested. We have gone back to the drawing board to develop strategies that we think will better place us as the right choice for the people of Tobago. We have started in most recent times our public meetings where we go to the different communities, educating the people of Tobago about what's happening in this space. Because some people don't know sometimes what's happening.
Yeah.
And we need to keep persons informed of lies, truth, in everything. We need to keep them informed of what is happening in this space so that they can make a educated decision when that time comes. We have started our walkabouts in the different communities. We do it 2 walkabouts monthly.
Yeah.
One in the east, one in the west. I must plug it in that we have our next walkabout at Marysill. On Thursday at 4 p.m. we meet at the junction. So we're inviting persons to come, and we have a cottage meeting there as well, where we speak on different topics, maybe the topic of the day, or just different topics that we think that Tobagoans need to be aware of. Because, I mean, you put a administration to run your affairs, and you need to know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know? So we have been doing the work that the people have asked us to do. We continue to meet with our membership. We continue to listen to their issues. We continue to take the cussing when necessary because it's all part of it. But I think that going forward, the PNM will show to the public that yes, we've gone back home, we've gone and did our homework, and we're back to present to you with this, the best choice for you.
I want to touch a bit on something here, and I'll ask the director to pull back up the Tobago Council's flyer with respect to the composition of the executive. And I've been going through. We see the 13 positions. We see Lady Vice Chair, Assistant General Secretary, Treasurer, the Education Officer, Public Relations Officer, Elections Officer, Research Officer, Welfare Officer, Field Officer, Operations Officer, Labor Relations Officer, Youth Officer, Social Media Officer.
Yes.
When I look at the list of these positions, it literally jumps out to see that every aspect of life, as we know it now, is literally covered in the composition of the PNM's structure of the executive. Is it that each person or each position, each function speaks only or treats only with persons if you are a member of the party? Or are these functions able to reach beyond just the membership and to the public at large? Can the public, members of the public, reach out to anyone? Let's say I'm a member of the public, I may not be a member of the PNM, and I have an issue with food support. I'm now unemployed because this administration, the only policy they've developed is the policy of restructuring.
Right.
And so they have put many persons on the breadline.
Yeah.
If I am just a member of the public and I really am in a bind, can I reach out to the welfare officer?
Of course.
Or the PNM?
But the PNM has never been one to shy anyone away from coming to get assistance in any way, shape, or form. So any members, these members of the executive in their respective posts are encouraged to treat with members of the party and members of the public alike. Because there are many persons who are not party members but will reach out to me for assistance, will reach out to me giving me advice, reach out to me with different things. So we are a party that treat everyone equally, regardless of your political persuasion, we treat persons with respect. And in situations where it's need, we try to help as best as possible. Most of these positions are going to work with committees that comprise from the length of breadth of Tobago. So they should have representatives in different areas that would, bring information if somebody needs assistance, to the welfare officer, if there's a group that think that they need to know more about the party, to the education officer, that kind of thing. So we encourage our executive members to treat everyone with respect, because everyone is a human being at first, anything else after.
Wow. That is in fact commendable, and I can't recall seeing any political entity with a structure like this that not only treats with only members, but treats with anyone that comes to the table. And indeed the PNM continues to be a political entity for all.
That's right. We're not perfect. We never preach to be perfect, but we try our best to treat with Tobagonians as Tobagonians first, anything else after.
Thank you very much. Folks, we're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we're going to be shifting the conversations around a bit, get into some public awareness. We're going to end off a bit with a few more little questions and so on that I want answered. And you, Akisi, you're going to definitely assist in that. But share the live, stay logged on, and we're going to be right back.
Good morning. Put a smile on your...
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes for breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti served with chokers, buljoil and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
She ride the wave, come jump in the range, and drop money that much your money mean. Don't need your love, that can cost me if you pay. Like King Solomon, a bag a girl to me name. Every girl broke out, Lord, broke out. Me say hot girl, and that's your time to step out. Big bumper girl, your time to get strap out. Hand on your knee, treat a girl and your body.
And every girl I get wild out tonight. Party in my out tonight. If she suck me, I find out tonight. I don't know what a wild out tonight. Out the blue light, I try out the back.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
And we are back. We had a little off-air joke there. Quite a lot of information being passed on. we want to touch a bit on the what next. Now we have a new executive in place. We have a vibrant looking executive. What are the expectations and what should we expect to see happening next? Not just us in terms of as the membership, but Tobago on a whole.
What next? What next is that you should expect a heightened mobilization from the People's National Movement. Expect to see us in your communities very often, very visible. Expect to hear more about our plans for Tobago. The political leaders spoke in detail at our last convention about the party's platform that we're going to roll out to the people of Tobago. So expect to hear more on those conversations. Expect to see more of our executive members put their faces to names. Expect to see them calling you, asking for your support, asking for, any assistance that you may need. Expect to see the PNM mobilize itself as we prepare to rescue and restore Tobago. Expect to see us talk on more topics that affect the island. Expect to see us talking about the airport and the impact that it would have once it's built on the tourism product of Tobago, and the growth of rooms if we do get more hotels on the island. Expect to hear a voice of the People's National Movement on every topic in Tobago.
And it's interesting that you said that, and I want to tie it back to the launch of the platform. And we have the faces there that are some of the names that we would have seen on the document.
Education officer, PRO, social media officer.
PRO and social media officer.
That's right.
Shamika Toppin, Senator Hislop, Kristen Salandi.
Elections
we
officer.
See joining them, elections officer, Kurt Wilson.
Yes.
We're going to have it running. Welfare officer.
Ms. Latoya Husford.
Yes. You see the senator beckoning to someone to hurry up.
Lady Vice Chair, Ms. Nicole Henry Waldron, who's no stranger to Tobago.
Yes.
Mr. Keston William, Assistant General Secretary. Mr. Maxton Roberts, another regular. Treasurer, Ms. Giselle Davis, as our Research Officer. Mr. Ansel Thorne, as our Operations Officer. Or we have Chairman and Political Leader, Ansel Dennis, and Dr. the Honorable Christopher Rowley, just installing and welcoming the members of the new executive.
So these are the faces that persons can look forward to,
yes, sir.
To be at the forefront.
And in the absence, Mr. Pete Gray, our field officer, Mr. Quincy Trim, our youth officer, and Mr. Justin John, our labor officer.
Young people,
young persons who are energized, enthused, and ready to put the work in for the People's National Movement. We simply ask our members to work with us, to support us, to critique us when we go wrong, in love. but
I like how you put in that part.
No, you can critique it when you critique in love, because we always say in the PNM that we are family, and family we have our issues, but deal with them in love, and we could always come back, reconcile, eat dinner together, hold hands, and celebrate when it's time to celebrate.
Kisi, I mean, this has been a tremendous segment. I think the information that has come across has indeed been enlightening. I think a lot of persons may not have even known some of the topic areas that you would have touched on, and I do hope that we continue to see more of you coming forward here on the Minority Report. I mean, for the sake of public education and edification, because it's important for the message to be out there. The PNM has launched its platform
at
the convention on Sunday, and a number of areas would have been highlighted. One of the things that we intend to do as well on the Minority Report is to precede that information and break it up into bits and pieces so it can be disseminated for public consumption. so that you, the public, will have an idea as to what is the PNM's vision, what is the PNM's thought process, where should we be heading to, where are we now, and you're going to be able to look at where we are now in relation to where we should be. And so we're all going to join the process. We're all going to sit together as a family and determine where Tobago should be going. You know, so Akisi, thanks for really coming for us to have that part of the discussion. Your closing remarks.
Just before I go, I just want to thank the membership for coming out over the past 2 days and casting their vote in choosing who their executive will be leading on from 2024 to 26. I want to thank everyone who would have put their hat in the ring, who would have submitted their nominations to be a part of the executive. And I just want to ask our members to work with us. We are ready to do the work that needs to be done, and we need the support of all members, all of Tobago, for that matter of fact, to work with us as we work with you, to reach the goal that we have set for ourselves. I just want to thank you for having me on the show this evening, and I hope that whenever you're ready to call on me or any member of the executive, that we are ready and willing to come and speak to the people of Tobago, especially our PNM brothers and sisters.
That definitely is going to be an invite that will be open. Folks, we're going to go to another short break, and when we get back in, we're going to shift the discussion to a very, very pertinent issue that has affected Tobago in a significant way. And we're going to have a guest in studio, industry professional, who's going to guide us through that conversation. So stay locked on, and we'll be right back.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
No place like home, home, home.
Oh, I love Tobago, baby.
When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon don't sleeping. Tell them we not leaving till the last drop of a canal is madness in the capital. So I feel like I'm running tongue again. Jump and shake the ground again. We with all my friends and them. No place like home, home, home. We go jump till the moon come down. It's we who the stars shine on. Play a mass and break away. freedom in with DNA.
So folks, welcome back to this week's episode of the Minority Report. We had a wonderful segment, and I want to thank Ms. Akisi London, the General Secretary of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, for being on with us and sharing some vital information, giving quite a lot and really steering the conversation, so that I think we are so much more edified and understanding what would have transpired over this last weekend. We're going to shift the conversation a bit, however. I have in studio with me now my next guest, Mr. Anim Douglas. Welcome to the Minority Report.
Nice having me. Thank you for having me here.
I want to get into our conversation by first of all giving a general scope of what we're going to be looking at. Over this past week, we would have seen a very heartbreaking incident of a tourist being attacked by a shark. Many persons are still baffled over what type of shark. We're still haggling over that. But the reality is that this shark attack took place. It's something that many of us can only relate to through the television or from watching a movie.
Yeah.
Because in my words, this may be very well an anomaly to Tobago. It's something that we're not accustomed to. I want us to take the discussion in a couple of areas, but before getting into that, I want Tobago to understand who you are, to know who you are. For those who don't know you, and that may be a very small segment of the Tobago's population. So tell us, who is Anim Douglas?
All right, okay, Anim Douglas. Work in the sector, in the marine sector, for almost 3 decades. Used to be part of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. Then from the Coast Guard, ventured into scuba diving.
Okay.
Professionally, I'm a diving instructor. And my hobby is fishing, charter fishing, taking people out to fish. So I have some idea, some experience on some situations in the marine sector I could offer here.
So what we're hearing is that you have, I call it in-depth / extensive knowledge and experience over, and you're saying 3 decades. I wouldn't guess, because looking at you, you look barely over 3 decades.
Oh, yeah, huh? Thank you.
You know, so this is your thing. You've spent most of your life at sea, living with the animals. We had a shark attack. What are your thoughts on it? And I'm asking you that firstly because many members of the public are still betwixt as to how to react, how to respond. But as someone in the sector, what are your thoughts? How did you feel when this information came to you?
Well, obviously, it's the first time it's happening here, and interacting with sharks, if I could say that, being a scuba diver and a fisherman, there's certain factors you could look at for that situation, that scenario that played off on the weekend. One, I will look at like the habitat, and everybody's is jumping on a certain species of the sharks, the bull shark. He have a reputation for attack, but I wouldn't just tag him alone or her. There's a couple of them that we have in our waters is capable of doing that.
Good. I'm glad you said that. Tobago is an island. We're surrounded by water, and so many of those of us who live here often make the trek to the beaches. You're saying now that there are a number of shark species that are prone to attacking.
Well. Before you say that, we have a couple of factors. What the question is, what triggered the attack?
Okay.
All right, and there's a couple of factors we could look at there. The environment, Colan Bay. We have the Colan River running into the bay there. it might have a carrion or a carcass in the river flowing in. We have the Plymouth village with the fishermen.
Yeah.
They're cleaning the fish and they're throwing back the carcass in the water. We have the fishing depot next to the hotel when they're doing their fishing with the nets. And they always have bycatch they throw back into the water. So all these little factors could attract sharks in the area. But the attack, because that been going on for years.
For years, yeah.
Yes, and no attack, you know. And so what triggered the attack? Again, in the Coral Bay area, this time of the year, we have the nesting of the turtles.
Okay.
And two of the species that we have here preys on turtles, like bull shark and the tiger shark.
Okay.
And I will introduce two more: the hammerhead and the lemon shark. All four of them, they will take advantage of any opportunity or any situation. So going back to the turtle, we know that turtles are vulnerable, exiting the water and coming back in the water. And we know the bull sharks and the tiger shark take opportunity of that. And this is my little 2 cents. All right. So just maybe it could be a case of mistaken identity. Again, the little that we know about sharks and how they feed, they take opportunity of injured prey.
Okay.
You know, like, okay, when we fish, with certain species of fish we're fishing for, once we hook up, we have to try to get that fish as quick as possible in the boat, because from the time you hook up on that fish, that fish is emitting certain vibrations. It's saying, hey, I'm injured, I'm hurt. And sharks pick up on that. And again, it's an opportunity. He's coming for that fish. So I don't want to upset anybody. And going back on the mistaken identity, we don't know what sort of activity was going on in the water, if they were having fun splashing around.
Yeah.
You know, and
so you identified, and I want to deal with this. You identified the issue of the fishing depots all along the coastline, and we know stretch from all the way as far as Plymouth, going all the way back down
Mount
to
Irving, Buku,
Mount Irving, Buku, and so on, where we have the issue of fishermen throwing back stuff into the water, blood and that kind of thing. Then we have the issue of rivers that run out into the sea, carcasses maybe. This has been, as you would have indicated, this has been an issue, a factor for years. It's been ongoing. Yet still we see now this loan shark, and again, for clarity's sake, you would clear it up for us, because that is also a concern. We're saying a loan shark, but is it a loan shark or one that drifted from probably a group of sharks? Is it that sharks move in groups? Is it that they swim alone? Because these are concerning factors now, because if one would have come so close to shore to attack, is it that there are others close by? How does that work?
I'm gonna say this, and I don't wanna scare the general public. We going into their domain, and when we go to the beach, sharks are always there. You could be swimming in any bay, and a shark swim by, and you don't know. That's just the fact of it. It's not like a shark come in the area and attack you. You know, sharks are always there. But we are not part of the food chain. And in diving, before this incident, we could see that, okay, before, why we don't get any attack, we could see that we have a good marine ecosystem in Tobago. You know, they know their prey, and we have enough. They have enough of their prey, so they could only focus on their prey. So that's another thing we could look at. You know, what gave that shark, that rogue shark, that lone shark, the reason to attack?
What prompted?
What prompted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned something, the balance of our ecosystem, and the director has this shark up. I still at a loss if this is the same shark from the attack.
By what I'm seeing here, to me it looks like a lemon shark. Everybody is saying it's a bull shark. A bull shark, yes, it have the same build, but one of the features is there's a snout, a shorter snout, if I could say that, than the lemon shark. And the color, the bull shark is more gray and white in the stomach. The lemon shark has a yellow brown integrate tint. I think I said between the nurse shark, which we call the sand shark, and the bull shark, the lemon shark. And that habitat, the lagoon, is a nursery, and over the years we have been seeing lemon shark in that area. They use it to come and, lay the young, if you want to put it like that.
Oh, the nest there.
The nest there.
So as myself being a beach goer from time to time, I think one of the things that is critical here is public education. I don't feel we've seen enough since this incident coming out in terms of how do we coexist with sharks. Tell us, because you gave some information, you precede the information by saying you don't want to scare anyone. But the information in itself is
we have to face
give us the raw information in terms of our beaches, our coastlines, our shores. The fact is that we do have sharks everywhere. As the general public, how do we now treat with that information? Is it that the public should now get into a state of paranoia?
No.
Or how do we balance this here?
Raw.
raw information.
Okay, this incident, sorry to say, it might not be the last.
That is very raw.
Might not be the last because, again, we have sharks here.
Yeah.
And I think I could be a little wrong. I think out of the 10 most dangerous sharks in the world, we have about 8 here in Tobago.
8
here in Tobago.
Just, slow down there. I want you to slow down a bit with this information.
Yeah.
Out of the 10 most dangerous sharks in the world, we have about 8 in Tobago's waters.
I've never seen a great white. I'm not sure about the ninth. I think ninth is the bull. We have the tiger sharks. We have the grey reef, black tip, lemon shark, and blue sharks. Yeah, we have a wide range. Hammerhead, the great hammerhead shark. We have them here.
What is the proximity to shore or to shoreline? Because bathers normally bathe within a 5 to 10 meter range from shore. There is now a growing concern. Is it that a shark will swim all the way up to shore to attack?
The last video, that lemon shark, that shark was in about 3 feet of water. Yeah, you have no boundary. Once you enter the water, if a shark wants you, they get you. But I don't, again, yes, it's raw. I mean, but going back to the ecosystem and how we, it's highly unlikely we're going to be getting a scenario like what happened last weekend regularly.
Right. So I want to, now that we've gotten the raw data, the raw information, and the reality that sharks are around us, and I mean, I have always swum out into the very deep and felt very confident that there's no issue.
You're not part of the food chain. You're not part of
explain that to us. You said that in Tobago, we have a very balanced ecosystem, and that is coupled with the fact that we are not part of the food chain. Notwithstanding the fact that someone was attacked, what is the composition of our ecosystem in terms of its build-up, and how does that directly affect the behavior of the shark?
Okay. Back to the attack. I will say that was an opportunity taken. I think the shark saw opportunity, and he came in and took it. Whatever triggered it, nobody knows really. Yeah, there's a lot of factors we could consider. The ecosystem, again, some of those the bigger sharks, they feed on obviously bigger fish like the turtles, reef fishes, the parrotfish, anything on the reef they feed on. And I will see in the diving, all the years of diving, we could see how they keep the balance on the reef.
So the shark is necessary.
It is. You take away a shark from that chain, you're gonna have a breakdown. A lot of them is territorial. So in diving, you might see 1 or 2 bull shark. You take away that bull shark, you might have 3 or 4 coming in to fill that space. So this goes to the people who is overfishing the sharks. In some countries that they fish the sharks, they have problems in the attacks. I think Bahamas, quite recently they had an incident there.
Yeah.
And before, they feed sharks. One of the attraction in Bahamas, they have a shark feeding. So we interfere with their habitat, if I want to put it that way. So, but naturally, we're not supposed to have a problem with them.
So is there anything that we can do that can continue to maintain an effective ecosystem balance?
Tobago is doing good. We don't really have a huge fishing industry. So in that, we're targeting this species and we're killing thousands of pounds of certain species of fish that are going to interfere with the ecosystem, really.
Yeah.
One of our big concern was the turtle poaching. And again, some of the big sharks that feed on the turtles, that might have been a factor. But we're going good on that area. And with so again, that attack is anybody guess, really.
Folks, we are in studio with Anim Douglas. We're discussing the recently highly publicized shark attack. We're actually getting into the depth of it in terms of the facts, the realities that we face. And it's important because public education on the issue is critical. We're going to go to a short break, and when we get back, we're going to start to look at some of the factors as well, the additional factors that may have contributed. We know global warming is definitely part of the conversation, and it's something that we want to probably touch on when we come back. So folks, stay locked on, share the live, get as many persons on the live so that we can all benefit from this conversation, and we'll be right back.
drop down there with a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
So folks, we are back. This is some very interesting information and discussions. While we are saying on set, I am also getting information and education offset. So we're gonna come back in with the discussion. We are discussing the shark attack, what triggered it, the impact that it could have, the public awareness. We want to be able to open that up tonight. One of the conversations that we know have not just in Tobago or Trinidad and Tobago, but even the region that is affecting something like this is the issue of global warming, the climate change factor. And we are hearing a number of voices even long before this indicating that we are going to see changes in the pattern in terms of marine life and so on, because they are the ones being firstly affected by the climate change. Tell us a bit of that, on that. What are your thoughts on it? And you were explaining something to me to offset, and I want you to share that with the general public.
Okay, as a diver now, we notice some stuff are happening on the reef. One of the effects of the global warming, the high temperature of the water, is bleaching, having some effects on the reef. And
explain the concept of bleaching, because for me, when I hear bleaching, I just think about washing clothes. You know, so
there's some corals that can't handle the high temperatures, temperatures over say 30 degrees, 28, 30 degrees Celsius, or 90 degrees Fahrenheit kind of stuff. The brain coral is one of the corals that are obviously affected by the high temperatures. The bleaching is the discoloration. It tends to turn white.
Yes.
White, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we call it bleaching.
Okay.
And that is because of the temperature rise.
So once we're seeing, especially the brain corals, once they have that white appearance, because they are normally like brownish kind of. So once we see them, that white look, then that is the effects.
Indication that the temperature
of the water is increasing.
Yeah.
Now, how does that now affect the breakdown or
everything is
impact?
connected, part of the food chain. You know, the small species of fish feed off the coral.
So we have the director pulling up.
That's a brain coral there.
This is a healthy brain coral.
Healthy brain coral. Nice brain coral. That look like space eye too.
Yeah, it looks like space eye.
Yeah. And again, is a food chain. And you take out one of the link of that chain, you could have some changes in behavior of the species, in some species of fishes and stuff.
So with the breakdown of the coral itself, it provides, or it no longer provides a food source, or
for some species of fish,
and that now affects.
It could affect along the whole line of the food chain.
This is serious.
Yeah.
So
on the fishing part of it, we have some good sport fishes here. King mackerel, tunas, dorados, wahoo, and we fish them certain times of the year. But because of the temperature of the water, because some of these species are migratory fishes, they travel long distance from cool. They like cooler water. But because of the temperature rise here, we've seen less, like the pelagics, like the king mackerel, the wahoos, the dorados. You've seen less of them now because of the temperature change. And that could have, again, an effect on the ecosystem, again on the food of certain species of fish.
So with the absence of some of these fishes who now, and just to put it into perspective, there are a number of species that would travel just in search of the cooler waters.
Okay, certain seasons, we have 2 seasons here. They come in expecting certain bait fish to be around.
Okay.
All right, like the flying fish.
Yeah.
Bonitos, balahoo, all those who know fishing. And again, because of the temperature, some of these bait fishes don't like the hot temperature, so they avoid it. And if the food source is not here, and those big predators come in, they're looking for food.
They have to look for food.
They're here and they want food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is troubling. So we're literally seeing the connection, and for those of us who may not be very into the conversation about climate change and so on, and I've heard many persons speak from the standpoint, well, that don't affect us here.
No.
You know, but what you are sharing with us tonight, we are directly affected by climate change. And so again, we're going back to public education. And I want to head, before, as we start to steer the interview this evening, as I say, we're heading to land the flight. What do we need to now equip the public with in terms of information, in terms of creating greater awareness, not just about the shark, because if part of the issue is climate change, and what we do as humans, as we hear the environmentalists say, we are killing the planet, littering and that. How should we now approach this? That we have connectivity in all the factors that ultimately affect something like what we saw happen recently.
Well, I think after the incident, we heard that there's some programs going on educating the public. I have to say, the first responders that were there, I don't know if it was an individual, but I heard the first responders, they were very efficient on that day, educating the community along the coastline. You know, getting the groups, the youth groups, church, you know, whoever involved, getting some of them engaged and enrolled in like first aid.
Okay.
And
especially the coastline communities.
The dive shop community, the divers, they most of them are first aid responders.
Okay.
So it's a good thing. Maybe you might have a list of like some of the dive shops, some of a list of phone numbers, contact information for these organizations, close to some of these bays susceptible of shark attacks. And yeah.
So public education. Let's get persons first aid trained. And again, I like the idea, the way you put it across, especially the coastal communities. We need to have more persons who are now being prepared and trained for that, so that they have themselves. Literally, everybody could be a first responder to a situation.
That was, that guy, whoever tend to, to stop the hemorrhage. Obviously have some training. The tourniquets and stuff. That was really good.
So we want to say kudos and
to whoever.
Congratulations and a big shout out to the gentleman who would have been the first responder.
And also the ambulance. The quick response.
One of the things that we cannot navigate away from in terms of a conversation like this is the impact that it can have on our tourism sector. It was notable that BBC News very quickly, and for those who may not have been aware, the gentleman who was the victim is a British citizen. And we saw BBC News really attack the issue, not in terms of negatively. I mean, they were quick to get an interview to find out what was taking place and so on, because they make it a point of order that wherever British citizens are and they're affected by stuff, they ventilate the issue. So we know that this conversation took place very quickly after and so on. How does that affect now our rating, our whether safety or otherwise, the fact that Tobago is and has been from time immemorial a tourist destination? Is it that this has the capabilities now to create a fear factor that can ward off tourists? Is it that we need now to manage the information and streamline our information to the world at large? What do you think is the impact, and how do we treat with it?
I'll say this: shark in the tourism industry, in the diving industry, shark have a positive impact on the business diving and fishing. Seeing a shark on a dive is a big plus.
Really?
It's a plus.
To who?
So to the divers, to the customer that comes to dive in our waters. Yeah, to see a shark is a big plus. So we have thousands of customers here. Yes, we have
people
thousands.
Come to see the sharks.
See the sharks. That's one of the species they want to see when they come, and the sharks. And 80% of the people in Trinidad and Tobago, have some sort of contact with sharks. Beacon shark.
I think that's the only contact most people comfortable with,
but it's a plus.
Yeah.
It is a plus. So, yes, that incident on the weekend could have a fear factor, but now is the perfect opportunity to educate and bring some awareness of what some of the things what could happen living in a tropical island surrounded in seawater with sharks in it.
So what I got very strongly out of what you said there is that even though this may have been a shock to us here in Tobago, many persons have been appalled by it, they're taken aback, the paranoia, the fear factor. This actually also has the potential to increase visitors to the island who are interested in diving and seeing sharks and so on.
Well,
studying the behavior.
Not the incident, but we have people for years coming to see sharks. I can remember in the middle 90s, late 90s, The dive shops make a lot of money with customers coming to see the hammerhead sharks that's schooling around the sisters. There's the little islands of
Yeah.
yeah.
The Three Sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so that's a zone that hammerheads
in the 90s,
yeah.
you go there and you've seen half a dozen hammerhead sharks just cruising around the island. Yeah. All the dive shops, all the boats full.
Wow.
To go and experience that.
Wow.
So,
but that no longer happens.
No. But you could be diving anywhere around the island and a great hammerhead come in. And that's a wow. So we've been seeing sharks for years and no attack. I have getting close contact with sharks, fishing, diving in the early days of spear fishing. You know, those fish, that creature shark is so intelligent. When you spear fish, when you shoot a fish, that shark is coming for the fish.
Not for you.
Not you. Not you. Again, because in early up in the talks, once a fish is injured, it
sense that it's wounded.
Yeah, it comes for that fish, not you. There's a shark, again, a couple of years ago, in the Drew Shoals, what we call the shallows in Tobago. There's a little area called the Wharf Shoals. The local fishermen, we call it the Weather Bite. It's a plateau in about 3 miles offshore. And top of the plateau is in about 20 feet of water. Really nice area. Best diving on this side of the island. And we could almost guarantee we would have seen a bull shark once we go spearfishing. And that bull shark, once you fire that gun off, he's so clever, he figure out the sound of this gun. Once you fire the gun off, he's coming looking for fish.
Wow.
So, yeah, we've been dealing with and seeing sharks for a long time. So, yes, that incident on Saturday is a shocker.
Final bit of advice. And again, I'm glad the way that you came out of your response that you've been dealing with and seeing the sharks for years. The average citizen visit the beach and you are probably in the water and you see what you perceive to be a shark. How do you react? How do you respond? What should happen next? I know some persons would just say, scream and run.
Yeah.
I don't know how effective that is because I know the issue of splashing in water and the attraction and so on. Advise the public on as someone who would have interacted closely with sharks. How do you behave?
Well, if you get the opportunity to see the shark, just exit the water. And behavior. I could tell the general public, listen, stay calm, keep your eyes on the shark, and exit the water. But listen, it's you want war.
Yeah.
If a shark wants you, it's nothing you could do. It's nothing you could do.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
That
put it that way.
Didn't that anybody
I know, but the responders, the lifeguard, equip the lifeguard with binoculars, loud hailers. They're always on a height.
Yeah, they're elevated.
They most likely the first one to see. Now this awareness is there. They're looking for shadows or.
And is it that you will always see the fin? Because on TV, you always know when a shark coming because you see the fin.
That's an amazing thing. I've seen sharks in 3 feet of water. You wouldn't believe the size of that shark, and you don't see the fin. I don't know if they wanted to see the fin, but they could be totally almost invisible in shallow water. Again, that video that you show with the shark swimming below the boat, that is not deep water, and that's a big shark. And did you see it breach the water?
No, it didn't.
No. And that's 3-4 feet of water. Listen, You asked me to be over, and I'm being truthful. You know, it's
just vigilance.
Yeah,
it's just vigilance.
Yeah. Listen, that incident it's something triggered that attack. Again, it's only the professional, the scientists, and they could bring up all the different factors that could happen. But I think we still in a good situation that it's highly unlikely that something like that gonna happen very soon again. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen again. I've been real, I've been true, I've been raw. We live in there. We get in contact in their environment. So there's always a possibility it will happen.
Very quickly, we just have about 2 minutes again. We were discussing something as well off air with respect to if you were to treat with the situation that we would have shut down the beaches as we saw took place. Just let's close with that. What, in terms of the course of action that you feel should have been taken?
Me personally, I'm not getting the environmentalists and they upset. Me personally, shutting down the beach 1 year, I think for that, right immediately after, I would have tried to catch that fish. If it's a bull shark or one of those species that we talk about, they normally territorial. They hunt if they get in food here, they hang around. And I would have targeted that fish. Now you could fish, catch and release. If you catch a shark and fit the description, 6 foot, 8 foot shark that could inflict that sort of damage, you release it. If you catch a shark that big, a bull shark, tiger shark, you want to check to see if it's that shark that did the damage. And if so, we might have taken away a man killer.
A threat. A man killer as they are normally do. Because once that shark gets the taste of blood, human blood, then the potential is there.
You know, as we hear, a dog tastes a sheep.
Yeah.
Sorry to put it that way.
Folks, we have been chatting with Mr. Anim Douglas, industry professional, a wealth of experience in the marine sector and providing us with some very, very critical information. Mr. Douglas, thanks for coming on this evening.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for taking the time. I trust that we may be able to call on you again when we have this type of discussion. Not necessarily a shark attack, but probably discussing our marine sector and the survival of it. So I really want to thank you for being with us this evening, folks. As per usual, we always try to create that balance where we have discussions that we know are beneficial, that create public awareness, that create greater education on issues and matters that affect us all here in Tobago. This evening has been no different, and I really want to thank you for staying logged on with us for the entire program. I want to encourage you to share the information that you would have received tonight, or even just tell someone to come back and look at the show to benefit from the interview. And let's all become part of the conversation so that we can treat with this situation effectively. We can help others become more informed. One thing that really, really stood out to me is the ecosystem's balance. That is critical. And we can all do our part in helping to maintain that balance and helping to slow the issues of global or climate change, as it will. Let's not litter. Let's ensure that we probably practice recycling and these kind of things. Less aerosols and that kind of... There's so much that we can do. But let's get ourselves educated. Let's get the public information and awareness out there. And let's all play our role in protecting this earth and the environment that we so necessarily depend on. So I'm Marlon David saying thanks for being with us this evening, and stay tuned for the next episode next week, Tuesday, of the Minority Report. Have a good evening.